and then after you can have like smaller groups as well. It's totally up to you and up to also the people who are coming. And then I just saw one opportunity, like, why shouldn't I start maybe learning another language? So, and also my ex-girlfriend was really about to kick me out of home sometimes, that you really spend too much time at home. So twice a week I can go on a Hebrew class. That was the idea. And that's how I met my wonderful teacher, who is smiling at the moment. If you can see Heidi there. Hi, Heidi. And she started to teach me, although I very resisted about Hebrew. But of course, I learned the basics. And what I really gained there is not only basic knowledge of Hebrew, but also I made many friends. And here also you can see Zsófi and István. And four of us became very, very great friends. And although I'm not learning Hebrew anymore, I'm still really great friends of theirs. And also Heidi has become a partnership coordinator from Budapest, and she's been still acting as a coordinator. She just kind of dropped us into this whole big group that I first just believed, like, okay, it's gonna be just a few people, about 10, 15 people all around the world. And every time a delegation arrived to Budapest and I had a chance to guide them, I just had to acknowledge that they are different faces and different people. And also the Israelis are always different. And I still don't know how many people we are talking about, but it's crazily huge. And I learned there are many more other partnerships in the United States. And wow, so I wouldn't even have known about anything about Judaism outside of Hungary. And for me, actually, being Jewish was nothing else, just like sometimes four of us went out and had some wine or beer and such. And Heidi also invited sometimes us for Rosh Hashanah and for other Jewish events. So this is how it all started. And 2 years ago, I got to Israel on a seminar, and that was also a partnership seminar. And last year in November with Zsófi, we went to the United States. I met several, like many of you. So I'm really pretty excited again, because I see new faces as well. Here, I'd like to again welcome everyone. And you can use the chat on the right side, the chat box, to ask me questions. And also you can interrupt me, just unmute yourself and say, Endre, there's something I really have to ask you, because it's very urgent. So please do it. What I'm going to do now is to introduce you Budapest, the city itself, as a tour guide from the point of view of basically myself, the way I live here, and also how I experience myself, how I can tell myself, or didn't even know how to say, identify myself as a Jewish person. Because what I really learned from going to America and also to Israel, that being Jewish here and there is crazily different. So I really knew that Jewish is just a word and it's not very important. Okay, it's just like you're blonde, you're tall, you're short, you're Jewish, you're Christian. Not everywhere. And on the way, I will really describe you this part as well. I'd like to start with a very quick video, a short video that's quite interesting in the point of view of living in this quarantine situation. Because the city has never been this pretty. I mean, there are not so many people walking around, so I give you some details about the town. It's just about a minute and a half. I hope that you can see. Please nod. I see so many, some of your faces. If you can see the video, okay. So it comes with. It's a short video. It's gonna be very short. This is the Hero Square, and it's amazing how empty it is, but there are still quite a few cars going down and up, and you see some people walking around, because you don't have to stay home all day. They will still give you the permission to spend even hours alone or with people who are spending time with you. So this is what the city looks like. That's the Andrássy Avenue. And this is a crossing which is always crazy. and it seems very deserted, although it's sunny and the pollution went very down. So there are very great advantages also for sportsmen running around the Margaret Island, and also here by the Church of Matthias at the Castle District. I'm going to give you more information about all these. And I'm very hoping that by the time you come back, it will be a little bit more packed. So, and it will be just not in years, but maybe a couple of months. This is a Cambridge castle, and this is a beautiful Parliament building. So it's only, yeah, I heard someone asking me questions. Okay, that was it basically. It's just a very quick introduction. I found it pretty amazing because there are always, I have to say that there are always like positive parts of maybe living in a quarantine, for example, in this case. So I like to start, especially for those who haven't really known much about Hungary before or Budapest before. I'll be very short because again, I only have just about half an hour, a bit over half an hour, because I give you about 20 minutes by the end of this to give me questions or commentaries and such. And I hope that if I put it full screen, it will be even better. Yeah, okay. So what you need to see is that it constantly goes to the other slide. So Budapest is the capital city of Hungary. We have approximately like 10 million people here. And as you can clearly tell, Budapest is much, much smaller than Pest. And this is very funny to see that this is Buda, this is Pest, and that's how it turns Budapest. I put this line here in the middle, the red line, that indicates you the always blue Danube, which is always green, but it's never been blue at all, just only in the vaults. And you see that the Buda side is hilly. There are many hills, mountains. It's very pretty, and the air is usually better, but nowadays the air is exactly the same on both sides because there's no pollution almost at all. What I'm going to talk about is basically this little piece here in the city center, because that will be very important for us from the point of view of Judaism. Also, this part here to the north, that's where not many people would go. That's also a Jewish district. That's where actually István, another participant of this partnership together, the young adults, a great friend of mine, he's from, and he's an architect. He always tells me great information about it. And also amongst the participants, I can also welcome Borcha, who is another tour guide friend of mine, and she also guided me around there. So I really don't like to waste your time talking about what happened here 2,000 years ago, but it's a fact that when the Romans colonized Hungary, and that was like always like almost 2,000 years ago, they brought many Jews here because you know that year 70 after Christ is when, or since the count, I have to say now that when Jews were enslaved, and about 15 years later they already showed up here. On this photo or painting on the top, you can see that Buda side had a population of 10 to 12,000 Roman people 2,000 years ago. They had aqueduct, as you can see in the middle. They had two towns, one for the villagers and the other one for the army. And down here in the city center, it's a very, very great picture. How in the city center they found some bastions of an old Roman fort. We even have amphitheaters. We have two of them in Budapest that not many people know about, but I just like to shape a parallel with Idan's tour that was 2 days ago, because he always talked about the Roman time and such. So yeah, we also have it. Unfortunately, not that much and not that pretty, but we also have something to show you from the Roman period. And this is the Aquincum. It's a nice exhibition place. If you come and there's no quarantine and it's after May, it's a very welcoming, interesting archaeological excavation site. So really, I don't want to talk too much about it. We can jump chronologically to the Middle Ages from the point of view of Jews, because during Middle Ages, we are talking about the knights and also great people from all around the world, the Crusades, soldiers coming roaming up and down all the time. But many people know that also in Hungary from the 13th century, there are many Jews living in the new capital city of the country that will become Buda, the Buda Castle. That's again one part of the city. And here in the middle, you can see this very interesting etching. That etching is not proper. Improper, it might be a little bigger or smaller, but this is what they expect to be underground. I will show you a map later, where in the castle district from the 13th century, that is a synagogue for sure. Sorry, it's a 15th century synagogue. The 13th century was elsewhere. I'm going to talk about it. We will also see that Jews lived there for sure. Here on the top, where you can see my my pointer, these are Hebrew letters, and also Magen David can be seen on top of a 15th century building. So it's proof that in the medieval castle district, we can find Jewish people living, Syrian Jews actually. These are Syrian Jews with the alphabet, the type of the font was actually Syrian letters. And here on this picture, I will show you more later, you can find a tunnel area from a different Jewish quarter from 200 years before, where they found the mikveh, and it's so recent, they found it even less than 20 years ago. So this is the map I talked about. This is Castle District, this is Buda side. When a tourist comes to Budapest and says like, can you tell me the way to Buda? They mean like that, okay? Buda is much bigger than this. It's only just a small medieval treasure box. It's got basically two parts. Hereby you can see the current royal palace that houses museums. Here's a chain bridge that most of people know about. And here I indicated the synagogue. And I said this is a 13th century Jewish quarter. There were many questions why the 13th century Jewish quarter is so close to the royal palace, and why there are not many Jews there from the 15th century. And turns out that the first palace from the 13th century was here. As you see, the other side of the castle district. What's very interesting that Jews were tolerated in the kingdom, although they were not permitted to live too close to the king. So this is why, while the king lived here, Jews lived there, and they, in 2004, just recently during a change of sewers, they found the pavement of a building that is supposedly a synagogue. It's still underground. They had to cover it because it's the only way, it's the only road, but that it is for sure. And because the king found this palace so small, would move to the other side, the Jews had to move also here. And that's why I indicated you two stars for the two synagogues from the previous picture I showed you. This is one, and that's the other one. When you come to Budapest, I show you more. I tell you more about it. What I will also show you later, and we saw also on this movie, is the Matthias Church. It's a beautiful treasure box, approximately over 1,000 years old. It was renovated many times. No more about it. So this is the area of the royal palace where Jews would not really come. This is where the king used to live, and this is what it looks like today. It's totally different. And about the mikveh, that's what I meant. So when you follow these tunnels, these are my photos, not the best quality, but I hope you can follow. You can walk downstairs to those fence, and that's actually just a cistern. So under that you can find water. And if you look up, this is the ceiling. You can see this kind of chimney, or it looks like a window, and cast concrete on top. But originally that was open, and rain could fall, so this could conserve the rainwater. And this is from 13th century. And it was very interesting that during the time when the archaeological excavations happened, they thought it's just a regular well, but then they found stairs leading down. And why do you need well with stairs down? So they made sure that this is a Jewish quarter, but they wouldn't find a synagogue yet, only just a few years later when the sewers were identified. Okay, so very, very quickly, that was all about medieval time, and then came the Ottomans. If you take a look at this etching, you can see that one side, it's Pest. It's very interesting. It has a moat, around it. We have a road instead. And then we have Buda. I showed you earlier, this is a Buda castle area. How many minarets are standing, sticking out from the cities, right? So this is what the appearance of the cities, Buda and Pest, the two different cities, look like for about 150 years during the Ottoman Turkish rule. They only left later on. That was in 1686. What you can see still in Budapest is one tomb of a spiritual leader, Dervish, Gül Baba, and these are the Turkish baths. You can see. So when someone comes to Budapest and like to just lay down and like rejuvenate in the hot water, they can go to these bathhouses. And this is just a small praying chapel in a beautiful church. It's one of the oldest one in Budapest. Okay, so then I just skipped another couple of 100 years, and then the Austrians are coming. The Habsburgs are the royal family of the Austrians, and basically they will reconstruct the country. But reconstruction means that they kind of take over a country, and then they would influence us too much. And from the point of view of Jews, not many people would have guessed that they had great time during the Ottoman rule, because the Ottomans just made them pay a little more, and then there was basically no problem at praying in their synagogues. But when the Austrians came, they killed all the Muslims here, and because the Jews collaborated with them, unfortunately that was the end of the story. And this is when those two synagogues that I showed you got buried, and they only found them in the 1970s, and only since that. So what I'm going to talk about is in the 1700s, not much immigration, but from the 1800s, there is immigration. And on this map, you can see the country of Hungary, or I would say the Empire of Hungary, the big whole thing, and in which I indicated you, yeah, I know if you're Hungarian would say, come on, it's not the best. Yeah, like, try it with my mouse. But I tried to indicate you what is the current size of Hungary and what was it before World War I. So here it's small Hungary and the big Hungary. And if you wonder about the colors, who are from Hungary can read it, not the rest, is you can see the percentage, the proportion of Jewish population in percentages. So here, 10 to 30% would be the red. And that is really the northeastern part, as you can tell. Here, around this area, you can find a county called Satmar. I wonder if any one of you have heard of the Satmars. Satmar Hasidism, maybe, New York, some Jews there. So this is the Satmar area. And my grandmother was from here, which is very interesting. That's already in Hungary, but there's already like a 20-30% Jewish population until Holocaust. It's very important. There's a very big debate on what kind of Jew you are, because this is the time when people, about the first half of the 19th century, so the 1800s, are migrating from Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and they are very poor. And they will move to here until the 1840s, okay? Until 1840, they are not allowed to move anywhere. They just move to some of the places where they were permitted. And the rest of the Jews who have been here for a longer time, they were like, come on, like, get out of here. You have your place there. We are not similar. So within the communities, there were so big differences. That's why the emperor was very upset as well. They couldn't really get around with Jews. They wouldn't even have names. So in the 1820s, they moved to Buda, and this is the Óbuda area. Look at this beautiful synagogue. It looks like a museum, right? Like even in the United States, you can find several classical buildings like that. It's beautifully renovated. This is what's being used by the Chabad. And it's very funny that in the 1840s, they were ordered to buy a name that they never had before, because they just used their father's name, Ben whoever, Ben Moshe, Ben Yehuda. And if you are the tax officer, you want to collect tax, how can you do it? You don't know how many people live in your family. So that's when different names will come up. Like, what is your name? Like, I don't have a name. Okay, what do you do? I'm a baker. Okay, you are Becker. So he's going to be back. And you are an old man. You have a cane. You walk with a stick. So you have 1, 2 legs, and then this is the third one. So then you have 3 feet. You are dry fuss. and Dreyfus is the name for an old person. Or you're going to be Weiss because your hair is white. You're going to be Schwartz because your hair is black. Don't ask me what grün means, because I don't know who else had ever like green hair, but it's a different story. Brown for sure. What's really is interesting is about my grandmother's name, and I really put the note. So here is a little note I can follow, because my grandmother is called Elephant. In Hungarian, Elefant. Yes, it's not very common Jewish name. And from my researches, it turns out that probably the town where they lived, the only elephant family, they had the only store. And the store had a sign and probably an elephant on it. So that's why they might be the elephant. I give you, István, the chance to tell me what you link me at the end of it. Or maybe you can join me now. István, are you here? Can you unmute yourself? István, do you copy? Okay, by the end, we will talk about that too. So that's the 1940s and the 1840s. And then finally, we are talking about the 1860s, when Jews are totally given the chance to be totally like the part of the Hungarians. They will have the same rights. They can settle down anywhere they want to. Earlier, they lived in Óbuda. This synagogue is up there. So even further up. And this is still the city of Pest, the old town. You probably remember the etchings. And this is the castle district of Buda. And in between is not much. Okay, so Jews are moving here. It's very big numbers because this is the trade route. And because they want to go on the market. Here is a marketplace. They will just settle down here. And they start building up their synagogues. Okay, you see quite a few. This is what the Király Street, this street, the main Jewish street looks like. It's like a shopping street, 1920. And then the synagogue. I'm going to talk about the Jewish district later, just very, very briefly. This is the second largest synagogue in the world. And you can see it's very, very pretty how a big menorah or Hanukkah is basically created in front of it by the entrance. And this is my photo. I was having a glass of wine just across the street, and I took this, and I never knew that I'm gonna ever use it, but thanks to you, I can. And how about this one? Okay, show you the one before. This is a Dohány Street Synagogue in Budapest. What about this one? So in last November, we went on a seminar with Zsófi to the United States, and we had some other days to spend in New York City. And this is a central synagogue in New York. So check again. This is the one in Budapest. This is in New York. Yeah. Any similarities? Yeah, so how much influence the Hungarian Jewry had on America and on the whole world is very, very important to say. This is the same thing in the evenings at night. And that's the interior. But again, I'm going to talk about the synagogue a little later. Okay. That's another one because there was like a big thing in the 1867 time. Think about it. You have just as much rights as you can. And then from one day to another, there's so many rights for everyone. It's usually a problem, right? So then a big Jewish Congress was called in by the emperor because the emperor said it's still unacceptable that I have the Catholics, they're good Catholics. Because if I want anything to be done, I just tell the archbishop, the archbishop will tell the bishop to the priest, and then it will be told everyone in the community. What happens for Jews is a different story. There are 2,000 Jewish communities in the country that time. And then you have to pick one, says the emperor, who's going to be the chief rabbi. Good luck, right? So it's never going to happen. But then in that year and later, for about 1 year, they had this Congress. And then some people said, I'm not even going to talk about it. And they became the Orthodox groups. And the ones who stayed together and they said that, well, it's not a bad idea to assimilate, they would be the so-called neologues. Neo is new and log is text, the neologues. But also within the neologues, there were big differences. So this synagogue that you can see, many people say it's a third kind of group, it's also neologue. Okay, it is under reconstruction. As I heard, it was reopened. I didn't have the chance to go inside because the coronavirus came. It has towers look like minarets. It's beautiful architecturally, but it was never used as a minaret. This is the interior. It's a photo from about 2 or 3 months ago. This is the roof, the dome. So I'm very hoping by the time you come, it's gonna be open for you. And this photo is from last year. This is Anna Fogel and her family from Indianapolis. And they took a visit to Budapest, and I had a chance to guide them around. Just wanted to add that as well. And this is a small Stiebel. It's very interesting. It's a German word for room. What you can see and what you can read, actually, you can try, it's Teleki tér on the kippah. Teleki tér is a square in Budapest where the only one Stiebel still exists. We had about 100 of these in Budapest because Jewish families and communities were usually poor. Like the Orthodox were especially very poor, and this is from a very poor neighborhood. They just like bought one apartment from the house, and everyone went there praying. And this is such a miracle; it still exists. Look at it. It was about 10 years ago when they found out that this is still operational, and maybe some of you can see this person here. So Mayor Andris and Gabor, they are brothers, and they kind of renovated not just the synagogue but also this community. And he just came back from the United States. The gentleman just came back, or I think it was his brother. I can never tell the difference because they look alike. If you like to learn more about this small community, you can ask Heidi from her experiences. It's originally a Ukrainian Belarus community. So I just wanted to show you another video, but I started with that. And this is basically a great picture of Budapest, because very briefly in about 2 minutes I show you the key sites as well, because whoever has not been to Budapest may know a little bit, and I go back to the Jewish district part as well. I have roughly 10 more minutes before the questions. I try to be quick. Andrássy, he was a count, and also for a year he was prime minister of Hungary. He was a very handsome and nice guy, so that's why he was picked to be the prime minister. As when he hung around with other people, always he was quite eye-catching. Even the princess of the queen of the Austro-Hungarian Empire could not resist him. So these are photos of the Andrássy Avenue and the Opera House, which will look like this soon because it's under reconstruction, and the House of Terror, which is very important. If you've been to Budapest, I'm pretty sure you visited it. It's 60, the number 60. Quite ironically, first it was a building, an office building for a local Jewish community that in the Nazi period, the Nazi Arrow Cross Party would confiscate and use it for their headquarters of operations. So that was the home of the secret services. And when the communists came, they would move in here using pretty much the same people who turned Nazi to communist in a day to another. And it's quite shocking to see the roof, how the shade, the shadow on top will sign terror. It's a house of terror. That will be, it's quite central in the city. And most of it, that's inside, most of it is about the communism. And some people criticize it, why it's not about Nazism and why not about Holocaust. We luckily have the same year, we have a Holocaust Memorial Center opened. It's not in the same district, it's a little bit further, although I have to say it's attached to an old former synagogue, which is beautifully renovated. And this museum is not only a museum, but also a documentation center, and it works together with Yad Vashem. So if you look at this architectural style, you can clearly see the similarities. These stones that they've decorated the building with are from Jerusalem. So when you take another look, it's an aerial photo, you can see the synagogue itself, and under that, you can find the documentation center. I had a chance with some of my friends, tour guide friends as well, to participate on some studies here. We learned about Holocaust, and we could also become tour guides to guide tours here in this exhibition place. And one more photo about the interior of the synagogue, which is not active. It's open only for different events, but the attached building next to that is a smaller room, and that is for an active synagogue. Before you ask me, 21 active communities are marked on the website, although I don't really believe that every 21 of those would have like Shabbat, for example, every weekend. This is also from the exhibition. And then if you go to the end of the Andrássy Avenue, which is here at the bottom, you will get to the Hero Square. It's going to be the next topic. The Hero Square has been called Hero Square since 1938, although the square is older than that. That's when it was paved, like we saw on the video before. That was a so-called Eucharistic Congress. It's a Christian big Congress, and I was going to talk about it before because this September we are supposed to have it again. I'm not sure about that. After this coronavirus, we'll see, and I'm very hoping. This excavation place is a lake usually, and an ice skating rink. So this is a huge park at the end. Here is a zoo. It's going to be renovated and also added a different part. And here is a beautiful Széchenyi thermal bath. Also museums around, some details here. That would be the Hero Square. Again, this is in the middle, the tomb of the unknown soldiers. So those are the real heroes, not the ones who behind, according to the original description. This is the park. Inside, within the moat, we've got some replicas. These are from 19th century, all constructed so we can show off how beautiful buildings we have in the countryside and such. That's a Széchenyi thermal bath from outside, and this is from inside. It has got 3 pools outdoors and also 15 in there. The water is very hot and quite good for you. It's interesting to come here if it's open, but now because of the pandemic, it's been closed. St. Stephen's Basilica, one of the main sites of Budapest, with its 96 meters high, is the highest building in the city, alongside with the Parliament building. Very funny that I used to sing in here. I was a member of a choir, so I'm so Jewish that until I went to Birthright, Tagli Birthright trip 6 years ago. Yeah, so I was 26 years old. I would spend my days in a church. That's also quite interesting. But they tolerated me. They didn't have a problem. So I sang in a choir. Most of the best choirs usually are related to the churches, but also here in the synagogue, the Lohan, you can find a very nice choir at the moment. Okay, and then jumping through, this is a very interesting relic. It's St. Stephen's right fist. It's a mummified fist of our first king that's inside the church that's dedicated to him. And we go back to this map again because I like to talk about Buda just for about 2 minutes. We saw it from the aerial photos, the drone video. This is Matthias Church, which is dedicated to Virgin Mary and also our king who gave this beautiful tower. He founded the tower. He was King Matthias in the 15th century. And some photos of the interior. It's very stunning. I would say it's one of the best and most beautiful Roman Catholic churches I've seen and visited, not just because I'm a tour guide, but it's truly amazing. So I hope that you can come with wonderful stained glass decorations from inside. Yeah, and if you're interested in this kind of touristic stuff at the Fisherman's Bastions, you can always find this guy with his golden hawk. You can take some photos with him. And that's the view from there. You can see the chain bridge, also the Buddha Hills at the distance, Margaret Island in the middle. And this would be the Parliament building. And this is a group of the British Maccabiah team from last March, because Budapest has the European Maccabiah Games. And I had the chance to guide them around Budapest with also Borcha here and other tour guide friends. Coming back to the Pest side, again, one more time. And we are here at the market. The market is located here at the southern part. just because I'm very sure that Idan especially likes to see some nice sausages and bacon. This is the interior. It's the largest European market hall. It offers you a great selection of fruit, vegetables, and lots of meat, not kosher. So this is something for sure not kosher at all, especially the bacon here is not kosher, nor the sausages, but it's not impossible to find great quality kosher food as well. This is me buying some definitely not kosher stuff. And I do many culinary tours. These are foie gras, that's very important here, and that can be kosher as well. They are for goose and from duck, these different animals. And the parliament again with the Maccabea team. The Parliament House is the crown jewels of Hungary. This is what it looks like. We have two of these at the moment. One is for tourists and the other is where the sessions are held, actually. And when you are going down to the river, you will see this. It's voted as the second most amazing outdoor memorial 2 years ago. These are shoes, 60 pairs of bronze shoes. Many millions of people visit it every year. You see the chain bridge and the castle district at the background. These are to commemorate on those Hungarian Jews who got shot into the river in 1944 and 45 by the Hungarian Arrow Cross. They were the Hungarian Nazis, basically. And it's quite shocking to see even children's shoes. And every year on the 16th of April, which is also the day of inauguration, is a day of International Day of Hungarian Holocaust. There's March of Living. And from the synagogue, you walk there. And it's more like a walk to commemorate, but because many people would meet just like every second or third month. Also a great chance to meet your friends whom you haven't seen for a long time. It's quite like a cheerful activity, not the commemoration part, but the way that you meet other people, and that's why it's quite important and impressive for us. And this is a sign, many people critical about it. It says that to the memory of the victims, not saying Jews shot into the Danube by the Arrow Cross militiamen. It doesn't say about Hungarians' responsibility, because who knows whom the Arrow Cross militiamen are. Interesting. Of my research, I found out that in 2005, which is only just 15 years after the Russians are leaving the country and the country becomes free and democratic, the Jewish community did not really have the courage to send his opinion on what should it be there, but this sign. So I was quite critical against the government. Why didn't they claim it's a Jewish memorial? It was actually a deal mostly by the Jewish leadership back then. And because times have changed, there is a chance also that they add some other memorial plaques next to that, confirming or maybe describing what really happened here. Very important. But from 1990s, it's been slowly changing to 2005. And at the moment, I feel there is basically no chance you will feel any problems for being Jews here. A year ago, even a Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, okay, he's not my favorite, but he said there is zero tolerance for anti-Semitism in this country. What it will be about, I don't know, but at least he would say that in Israel a year ago during his visit. The chain bridge, the most iconic bridge of Budapest, has been connecting the two sites since 1849, and what's very surprising that it will have been closed soon, because in every 30 years it must be renovated. But this is my favorite bridge. I just listed you two, the Liberty, because it's not only very pretty at night, but every summer it's closed for different parties. So I just wanted to tell you this about it. And we jump back to the Erzsébet város, the Elizabeth city. I think I still have about 3 or 4 minutes to tell you about the Jewish quarter of this part, where me and my friends, and also most of the around the table, I will tell you more about it, would gather. This beautiful lady here is Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, and she was the queen of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And I can also use the Prezi application from now. It is a little similar to what we started when we brought Israel in April 2018. although it's a bit hacked, so it's a little different now. This is the map of the Jewish quarter, and I try to highlight to you what the most important parts are. So here at this point, you can see the Grand Synagogue, and on the left side, it's not the synagogue itself. That's an older photograph, and from the window, you can find Theodor Herzl, and this is a guy who's the father of the political Zionism you probably know about. He died in 1904 with a message that I'm pretty sure that if it's not going to be created now, but in 50 years, we can tell that he was right, because in 1948, Israel was founded. When we zoom out, we can see this other synagogue. I told you it's not very like the status quo, but it's under renovation, by the way. And from here, from this photo, you can see the synagogue is quite a big area. I hope that the resolution allows you to see what I wanted to show you. This big hall is the synagogue itself, the second largest in the world. Here, this little green area is a memorial garden where 2,481 Hungarian Jews are buried who died during the ghetto time, because this whole thing was a ghetto during 1944 and 45 for about 6 weeks' time. Here is another synagogue in the backyard, and that's the Temple of the Heroes for the martyrs, for the heroes of the First World War. And behind, we have also a very important memorial. I will show you photos of that as well. This is the Orthodox district in the very middle, and I think I took quite numerous photos of that. Yes, but first the mikveh. Sorry for this. The mikveh is a ritual bath that was opened in 1930, and it's still in use. This is what it looks like from outside. So it's not very promising. Inside, it's like that. So you have no worries about that. It's quite good condition. And this person I want to talk about in relationship with Hungarian Jewry. This is Raoul Wallenberg. He was ambassador of Sweden, who lived in Hungary in the 1940s. And then he turned to become one of the greatest Jew savior, Gentile in the whole world. We don't know exactly how many, but I would say, and I think I'm confident to say that without his help, not many Jews would survive. And if we say but 30,000 or 100,000 Jews would be saved, it's hard to tell, but he kind of sacrificed his life to save the Hungarian Jewry. Being, again, one per 16 Jewish, but it's not a question. If you like, I can tell you more about him later on. This is the green area at the synagogue. I showed you the garden where 2,281 Jews are buried, Hungarian Jews from the time of the Holocaust. And this is you, some of you who visited Budapest. Yeah, you can shake to yourself a Judy in the middle, right? And everyone's there. This is a Holocaust memorial. You can find this 7-branched big weeping willow tree with 6,000 leaves on. Those are stainless steel leaves, and you can find the names of the victims who were killed. It's a very touching and very important memorial. The same garden at March, when the entire Maccabiah, British Maccabiah team would be here, and they would pray for a minute. They would commemorate on the Hungarian Jewry, and also everyone from Holocaust. And here you can see the dimensions of the Grand Synagogue, how humongous it is, and it's still active. Yeah, and maybe the Israelis can identify this guy here. He's your immigration minister. Yoav Galand, that would be him. And I had the chance to guide him around and his wife last year. I just wanted to add that because now it's confirmed that I'm a tour guide. At least there's one photo of myself. And here you can see the two synagogues next to each other, the Grand Synagogue and the Heroes Temple. Okay, I don't want to talk too much about it. This is the Orthodox. Again, on the Prezi, here on the map, the Orthodox area. It's a beautiful Art Nouveau synagogue with 2 levels for ladies and ground for gentlemen. And I took a photo, from the Maccabiah team, and my favorite I've ever done would be this one with Borcha again. We are stargazing. That's from my Instagram page, actually. Yeah, I can see I need to be very short. I'm trying. Just added some food part, because food is very important here. Why food is very important? Because every time you invite someone for food, they're gonna come. So this is a flódni, a Hungarian cake that you can also find in the Jewish district, just very close to this area next to the mikveh. I think I just managed to delete this. Yes, of course. So going back, next to synagogue, around here, this area, you can find this pastry shop where it's totally would be available, and also kosher or kosher style food is available. Here we have plum jam, walnuts, apple, and poppy seeds. It's about 5 million calories, and it's a heart attack, but it's worth trying when you come to Budapest. And I found that it's very important also to give you other photos of the sholet, the chun, the cholent, chamin, all the same food, the bean stew with goose leg, beef, and also the kugli, and some egg. Because food, we believe it's very important. That's about to connect people. And I even brought you some other photos of matzo balls that we are building, because we have this around the table that I told you that we're gonna talk about a little just in a minute. Hédi István and Zsófi and me and we created this this idea last year when we visited Israel. Was it last year in April? Or 2 years ago. Sorry guys, I'm totally crazy about it. I don't remember anymore. April for sure, 2 years ago. And we had the chance to think about something that can hold us together, even if there are no like events or seminars. And we believe that because Hungary has a great classical history at coffee houses, where intelligent people and not that intelligent people too would visit some places, not bars, coffee houses that they had to keep open for 24/7, and they usually had conversations. They sat around the table and they had different topics to discuss. And we said that if we can do it next to food, it's never a problem. So every month since last year, so we had like 15 sessions already, we always create something very interesting. We can talk about food, we can talk about journalism, about sport, different events. And this time we, for example, are cooking matzo ball soup. This is Zsófi and also the two Zsófis, our Zsófi and Mautner Zsófi, who's a very famous Hungarian chef. And this is Zsófi's book, and she finally signed it for her. These are just photos from our other events from around the table. This is from about a month ago when a journalist came over and talked about how journalism works in Hungary. This is when the ladies are dying for this very handsome ambulance guy who's saving lives every day. And this is István and the Erzsit. And Erzsit is a unique place in Budapest, which was beautifully renovated. So it houses now 5 different rooms, and it all looks exactly like a century ago. So we are really around the table. This is my my talk at one of my favorite. I won't say it's a restaurant. It's more like a bar for Czech food, but you can also find food. So we are always around the table, and I believe that it's very important. As long as food is around us, we are always gonna gather. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope that, yeah, it was 49 minutes, 9 minutes longer than I expected, but I hope that you don't mind. And please unmute yourself. And it's very, very important to ask me questions. And I hope that you really enjoy this. You may have many questions.
Andre, thank you so much. It was really nice. And your knowledge is amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much, Efrat. It's great to see you as well.
Somebody asked, a few people asked about recipes, and I know that cooking may not be your thing, but is there any? I didn't say. I look forward to tasting whatever you're cooking next. But if there's a way to share some recipes, seriously, we'd love to do that. So please, because I saw a couple of questions about that.
No problem. Yeah, I really will. I think after this at the Partnership Together's Facebook site, or do you like Michelle to send all these links to you and you will post it? What do you prefer?
Danit, is that something that can be posted? Tell you what, send them to me and we'll go from there. Thanks, love.
All right.
Thank you very much, Andre.
Thank you, Judy.
It was wonderful. Brought back a lot of memories from early November. I see some of my partnership discovery friends who we shared time with you, and Ishvan and Danny. So yeah, Daniel, it was wonderful. Yeah.
I hope Danny is also, he also liked it because he was my greatest critic on the tours.
Yeah.
I very liked it.
He kept you on your toes.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're great.
Thank you.
Well, we have to plan another summit in Budapest when our coronavirus is over, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
Andre, we're sending big hugs from Fort Worth.
Hi, Cindy. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Sorry, I couldn't.
You just muted yourself, Cindy. You're mute. Okay, I think that your family, like, yeah, they couldn't join. No problem. Next time.
So, Endre, what do you think? Should I share the story of your very
Please,
famous
yeah.
American relative?
Please,
So you guys, it turned out I read an article today about Mark Spitz, who has got an ancestor from Hungary, from the same village, and with the same family name, Elephant, that Endre has got. So it turned out that Endre and Mark Spitz must be relatives.
And István shared it to me 20 minutes prior this meeting. I couldn't, like, oh, can I call him now? No, because I have to do the Zoom. Like, wow. I don't know what to do. I'm feeling bored. And he just tells me that I'm related to a twice Olympic gold medal winner. So
then we definitely need a side-by-side photo, a little photoshopping, so we can compare. Little faces, do we look alike?
Or in the swimming pool, we can check.
Ooh,
yeah.
Lake swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The race.
And thank you, Idan, that you told me that you're not going to stay until the end and you're still here. Nothing is more important in my tour, right?
Of course.
Andre, this is Marcy from Dayton now. I was only there for 4 days, but it was such a different feeling to see it from above, to see everything from above. So thank you for that. It's very exciting, very different. And now I can't wait to go back and go and see more. So thank you.
Thank you. Please join. And then if you are here, I'm going to buy a drone and we're going to check everything from above. Okay?
Thank you, Andre.
On behalf of the Hungarian team, I also wanted to say thank you to Endre, not only for this great presentation, which was really wonderful, but also for his passionate work as our partnership volunteer. And I really hope that we're gonna enjoy many more fantastic moments with him when you are coming to Hungary, because we won't give up on this summit. I won't let it. So we can't wait to have all of you in Budapest after all what's going on now. We will have a lot to celebrate together, so can't wait to see.
Thank you, Heidi. One thing to add, that you don't have to wait until this seminar in Budapest. In case the borders open sooner, I've got a guest room for you. I already hosted 2 guys, Jacob from the US, also partnership. So my door is always open for you.
Awesome.
You're home away from home.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Sandy, how are you? Hi, how are you?
Who's on the phone?
You're so sweet. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And this is
How are
Mary.
you? Yes, we're just, you know, we got a letter from Samantha got an email from UT that said COVID-19 is delaying the appeals till next Monday.
I think I missed it. COVID-19 is delayed.
Anyways, so
Cindy, mute.
yes, it is still possible.
Hi, guys.
Well, I don't know if Gil is here yet.
No, Gil had to go.
Okay. So, would you like to close the event by inviting people for Danny's lecture on Monday?
Actually, the next lecture. The next lecture is on Sunday. Sunday is the Musar program with Susan Schwartz from Buffalo. You are all invited. It's going to be very, very special. And of course, on Monday, we have a special tour with Danny. Wonderful Danny, thank you for that. In Akko, the beautiful city of Akko. And thank you so much, Endre. You're all invited. Endre, thank you so much. We love Budapest. We love you. It was great seeing you all. And I wish you Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye, everyone.
See you on Monday.
Bye-bye.
None of us want to hang up. We want to keep looking at each other.
Then we'll leave.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, Judy.
Bye.
Thank you.
Like during the communism, that who's gonna leave the last?
My dear.
Nobody wants to leave.
It's great to be here.
Szia, Bandi, köszi, jó voltál.
Szia István, örülök, hogy te.
Nyomozd le ezt a mágspiccet.
Yeah, I'm super excited that I'm gonna send some emails to this guy for sure. Hi, I'm your cousin. How many people live with the name Elephant? Nobody, really.
Yeah.
Especially from this little village.
That's the only reason I remembered your story, because of this rare family name.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also partnership. If there's no partnership, I would never know that.
Well, hi guys.
Bye.
Thank you. It was okay for you, Endre?
I was very nervous, but because I believe that it's not gonna be okay. But I learned that I can talk about everything for hours. So I roughly worked for 20 hours on this presentation, which is absolutely more than I ever have done for a tour or something. Because I really wanted to have a great one, and I really hope that you liked it.
It was great. And
about this and that, so I had to puzzle it together.
Yeah, there's so many topics. I mean, I think that it made everyone want to go back to Budapest.
Yeah, I hope that you will come as well.
Oh, I miss Budapest. I miss you. It was great
seeing
you.
I miss you too, and I miss everything which is outside.
Yeah.
Can you leave the apartment?
No, we can go 100 meters. Only outside, yeah. We can walk the dog and go 100 meters, just, you know.
And how about shopping? Only shipping?
Well, it was supposed to make online orders, but the supermarkets can't handle it. So we have to leave the house to go to shop. We have to, because otherwise you don't have any food. And all the time, that's what we do. I mean, we all the time eat. We all the time go to the refrigerator and look for something to eat.
I do the same. You know, I'm lucky because it is a time for the Lent of the Christians. And this is the third year I don't eat meat in this time. So if I had meat, I would be like, and because there's no meat in the fridge, I only eat vegetables. And,
that's good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try this with my kids.
Yeah, Because it's a new holiday.
Yeah, we're Hungarians. We have to do this holiday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you, Avital. Sunday, when is it? The Sunday?
Sunday, it's 7:30 your time. 7:30
Okay.
with Susan. You know Susan Schwartz.
I know a Schwartz. I don't know if I know Susan Schwartz.
You know Rob from Buffalo, the director of the federation. Rob is the director of the federation, and Susan
Rob.
is his sister. She's very, very nice. Like
I know
hair.
from Fort Worth, but I think they're not the same.
No, that's Bob.
Bob.
Bob. Everybody are confusing between them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I saw the chats. I mean, everybody like, thank you, Andres. We loved it. Everybody. So yeah, it was.
I'm very happy.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I'm free.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Bye bye.
Oh, Uri. Ha, 10 like.